You live through the image you hold of yourself. Everything you do, every result you experience, and every outcome you attract is a mirror of that self-image. It's the silent architect behind your actions. Yet most people go through life completely unaware that this internal image is dictating everything. You could be working hard, staying disciplined, doing everything right, and still end up feeling stuck or disappointed. That's not because you're not capable. It's because the image you hold of yourself on the inside doesn't support the success you're striving for on the outside. You see, you will never rise higher than the image you hold of yourself. That image sets the boundaries for your success, your income, your relationships, your health, everything. Deep down, you see yourself as someone who's trying to get ahead or working hard to make ends meet. That's the exact life you will keep living. It's not what you want that determines your life, it's who you think you are. You can't consistently outperform your self-image because no matter how hard you push, your subconscious will always bring you back in line with the picture you carry. That's why so many people feel like they're running in circles. They start strong with goals, get motivated, take action, but eventually they end up back where they started. Not because they're lazy or uncommitted. It's because their self-image hasn't changed. You can't install a new lifestyle on top of an old identity. If you see yourself as someone who only earns just enough to get by, your mind will block out every opportunity to make more. If you see yourself as someone who struggles in relationships, your behavior will unconsciously sabotage every connection. And if you see yourself as someone who is always anxious or unworthy, then no amount of positive thinking will truly fix it, because your actions always follow your self-image. Now here's the truth that self-image you're operating from. You didn't choose it. It was formed without your permission. It came from childhood comments, societal standards, repeated failures, the labels others gave you, and the environment you were raised in. What no one ever told you is that it doesn't have to stay that way. You can rewrite that image. You can choose a new picture. You can take the pen back and write the version of yourself that actually aligns with who you want to be. But that starts with awareness. You must pause and ask yourself, what image of me am I actually holding right now? Is it the image of a powerful, confident, financially successful person who adds value to the world? Or is it someone who doubts themselves, who plays small, who hesitates when it's time to act? The answers to those questions will reveal why you are where you are. And once you see the image clearly, you begin to challenge it. You begin to reshape it. This is not about hype or wishful thinking. It's about reprogramming the mechanism that governs your life. Your mind is like a thermostat. If your self-image is set to 20 degrees of success, you suddenly achieve a 40-degree result. Your internal thermostat will kick in and bring you right back down. If you raise the setting, if you shift your identity, then those higher results become your new normal. This is the foundation for all lasting change. Not more effort, not more hustle, but a new image, new concept of who you are, one that matches the life you actually want. It means seeing yourself as capable, creative, abundant, and powerful, not someday, but now. Not when you've achieved more, but before. Because it's not success that creates belief, it's belief that creates success. You must begin to deliberately hold a new image of yourself in your mind. Speak from it. Walk from it. Decide from it. And most importantly, write it down. Writing gives form to the invisible. Put on paper the person you choose to become. Describe how you think, how you act, how you speak, what you expect. Make it so vivid and real that your subconscious can no longer deny it. Because the truth is, the fastest way to change your life is to change the image you hold of yourself. And the beautiful thing is, once you begin to live from that new image, even a little, your outer world will begin to rearrange itself to match the inner shift. That's not magic. That's alignment. That's the power of self-image. So if you want to see a new reality, don't start with changing your behavior. Start with changing your identity. You don't need to fight for a better life. You just need to write your new self-image and let everything else flow from there. Write it now, live it daily, and watch your life transform accordingly. Most people are living with a self-image they never consciously chose. It wasn't written by them. It was shaped by years of outside influence. From the moment you were born, you were absorbing ideas, beliefs, and impressions about who you are and what you're capable of. You listened to your parents, your teachers, your friends. You absorbed their opinions, their doubts, their limitations. And slowly those ideas settled into your subconscious, forming a blueprint, a mental image of who you believe yourself to be. You didn't realize it at the time, but your self-image was being programmed. Not intentionally, not maliciously, but simply as a byproduct of the environment you were in. If you were told you weren't smart, you probably believed it. If you heard you weren't good enough, not talented, or not capable of success, probably accepted it. And because the subconscious mind accepts whatever is repeated and emotionally charged, those old beliefs became locked in place. Over time, they turned into a silent identity, quiet voice in your mind saying, "This is who I am." And here's what's important to understand: your subconscious self-image doesn't just sit there. It drives every decision you make, filters the opportunities you notice, the risks you're willing to take, the money you feel comfortable earning, the relationships you allow yourself to experience. It influences how you show up in the world. That internal picture is guiding your entire life, quietly, automatically, and powerfully. But now you've reached a point where you're waking up. You're realizing that the life you want requires a different version of you, not a fake version, not a pretend mask, but a consciously designed self-image that reflects your true potential, not your past programming. The truth is, you were never meant to live within the limits that were handed to you. You were meant to rise above them, to rewrite your own identity, to create from a place of awareness. That begins with a choice. You don't have to accept the image that was given to you. You don't have to carry the labels others placed on you. You can take control. You can reprogram your mind. And when you do, everything in your life begins to shift. So how do you start? You begin by identifying the old image. Become aware of how you currently see yourself. Ask yourself, what do I believe about my abilities, my worth, my earning potential, my capacity to succeed? You'll find that many of those beliefs came from outside you. They were someone else's fears, someone else's doubts, but you accepted them as your own. And now it's time to let them go. The next step is to write a new self-image, a new identity that reflects the kind of person you want to become. This is not wishful thinking. This is programming. You are impressing new ideas into your subconscious mind through the repetition of thought, emotion, and imagination. The same way your old self-image was built, you're now building a new one deliberately with purpose. Write it down. Describe yourself in detail. How do you think? How do you speak? How do you walk into a room? How do you handle success? How do you respond to setbacks? Be specific. The subconscious mind responds to clarity. The more precise the image, the faster it takes root. See yourself already living the life you desire. Feel it. Speak it. Move through the day as if that version of you already exists, because it does. It just needs to be claimed. At first, your old programming will resist. It will whisper that you're not good enough. It will try to pull you back to familiar patterns. But you must persist. You must affirm the new image again and again until your mind begins to accept it as truth. This isn't something you do once. This is a daily practice, a commitment to becoming who you truly are, not who you were conditioned to be. As you continue, your behavior will begin to align with the new identity. You'll start taking different actions, making bolder decisions, speaking with more conviction, and people around you will notice. But more importantly, you will feel the shift. You'll feel the power that comes from living in harmony with your higher self. Remember, you are not your past. You are not your upbringing. You are not your mistakes or the opinions of others. You are what you decide to become, and that decision starts now. You have the ability to consciously write a new self-image, one that reflects your gifts, your value, and your vision for the future. Write it boldly. Live it daily. Let go of the old story and step into the life you were meant to lead. Your mind responds to clarity and repetition. If you want to change the way you see yourself, you can't do it with vague hopes or casual affirmations. You must be deliberate. You must speak with precision and consistency. This is how you begin the process of reprogramming the image you hold inside. The subconscious mind doesn't respond to scattered thoughts. It responds to clear, emotionally charged instructions repeated over and over again. Think of your mind like fertile soil. Whatever you plant, good or bad, it will grow. The seed must be planted intentionally and nurtured consistently. That seed is your new self-image. And it's not enough to just think about it once and expect transformation. You must return to it again and again until it becomes real in your mind. Because the more clearly you can see the version of yourself you want to become, the faster your life begins to shift in that direction. The subconscious doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's imagined. That's the key. When you vividly write and repeat your new self-image, your mind begins to accept it as fact. Over time, it becomes your internal reference point. It becomes familiar. And once it becomes familiar, your behaviors and actions start to follow it without resistance. That's why writing your new self-image is such a powerful act. You're not just scribbling words on paper. You're giving your mind instructions. You're telling it, this is who I am now. When you write in the present tense as if you are already living the reality, you bypass the conscious doubts that normally hold you back. You begin to impress this new image onto the subconscious where it starts working for you automatically. Let's be clear, you can't skip this step. You can't just hope you'll feel better about yourself someday. You must actively create the image of the person you want to be. Describe how you think, how you dress, how you talk, how you walk into a room. Be specific, be bold, say it with authority. The more detailed the image, the more your mind can grab onto it. You're building a blueprint for your future. And the clearer that blueprint, the more easily your actions begin to align. But clarity alone isn't enough. Repetition is what drives it deep. You've got to speak this image to yourself every day. You've got to read it, visualize it, feel it over and over again. The same way your old self-image was formed by years of repetition, your new one must be built the same way. This is not a one-time event. It's a daily discipline. At first, it might feel strange. Your old programming may argue with you. That's okay. That's part of the process. Keep going. The more you repeat your new image, the more it becomes familiar. And what becomes familiar becomes comfortable. Eventually, the resistance fades and you start thinking, speaking, and acting in harmony with the new version of yourself. This is how you break free from the past, not by fighting your old habits, but by creating a new image so strong that the old patterns no longer feel like home. Your new self-image is clear and emotionally charged. Your actions will naturally rise to meet it. You won't have to force change. You'll become change. And as your behavior shifts, so will your results. People will start to respond to you differently. Opportunities will begin to appear. You'll find yourself doing things you used to avoid, taking steps you used to doubt. That's not coincidence. That's alignment. That's your internal image reshaping your external world. Understand this, your self-image is a product of the thoughts you repeat most often. If you want to create lasting transformation, don't wait for the world to validate your new identity. Don't wait until you've earned it. Start now. Decide who you want to be. Write it down with clarity. Repeat it with emotion. Do it until the image is no longer something you're trying to become. It's simply who you are. Clarity gives your mind a target. Repetition locks it in. This is how you begin to live as the version of you that already exists in potential. And the more you live it on the inside, the faster it becomes your reality on the outside. Imagination is the workshop of the mind. Everything you'll ever create in your life starts in your imagination first. The self-image you hold, the goals you pursue, the confidence you carry. It all begins with what you can see in your mind. Most people have no idea how powerful this mental faculty really is. They've been taught to value logic, reason, past experience, but not imagination. Yet it's through imagination that you begin to shape a new reality. And if you want to create a new version of yourself, you must first see it clearly in your mind before you ever see it in the mirror. Think about it. Every invention, every business, every piece of art, every solution that's ever changed the world, it all started in someone's imagination. Someone saw something that didn't yet exist, and they believed in it so strongly that they brought it into being. That same creative power exists in you, and it's not reserved for genius minds or rare moments of inspiration. It's available to you right now in this very moment. The only requirement is that you use it with intention. You've already used your imagination thousands of times. When you've worried about something, when you've feared failure, played out worst-case scenarios in your mind, that's imagination too. But it was being used against you. The mind doesn't care whether what you're imagining is empowering or limiting. It simply accepts what you feed it. That's why it's so critical to take control of this process. You must begin to imagine the version of you that matches your new self-image, not just once, but daily. See yourself walking with confidence. Hear the way you speak with clarity and power. Imagine yourself receiving the success you desire, attracting the relationships you want, enjoying the freedom you crave. Let the feeling of that life rise within you. Don't just see it, feel it, because the subconscious responds to emotion. When you combine vivid imagination with strong emotion, you accelerate the process of transformation. This isn't fantasy. This is the beginning of identity. You're not pretending, you're rehearsing. And rehearsal is how your mind begins to adopt a new pattern. Top athletes, performers, and entrepreneurs use mental rehearsal to prepare for success before they ever step into the arena. You can do the same in your own life. Close your eyes and step into the scene of your future. Picture the version of you who has already become everything you desire to be. What are they doing? How do they handle challenges? How do they think? How do they carry themselves when no one's watching? The more time you spend in that inner world, the more it becomes your default state. Eventually, your mind stops questioning it. Once your mind believes it, your behavior begins to match it. You'll find yourself making decisions faster, speaking with more certainty, and walking into opportunities you would have once avoided. That's not because you've changed on the surface. It's because you've rewritten the image you hold on the inside. What you imagine consistently, you begin to attract. And this is where most people misunderstand the power of imagination. They think imagining something is enough. It's not. You must live in that image emotionally. You must let it shape your thoughts, influence your words, and guide your actions. Imagination is the starting point, but alignment is what brings it into reality. When your daily habits begin to mirror the person you see in your mind, you're no longer wishing, you're becoming. And here's what's beautiful: the more you imagine and act from this new self-image, the more natural it feels. At first, it might feel like make-believe, but over time, it becomes normal. And when something becomes normal to your mind, it becomes effortless in your life. That's when the external results begin to shift. Your income, your relationships, confidence all rise to meet the internal picture. Your imagination is not just a tool, it's your blueprint. It's how you design your life before you build it. So don't be afraid to imagine boldly. Don't shrink your vision to match your past. Expand your imagination to match your potential. Your current reality is only a reflection of your old thinking. Your future reality is being shaped by what you imagine today. If you can hold the image long enough, feel it deeply enough, and act from it consistently enough, you will become it. Act as if you're already that person, the version of you that you wrote down, that you visualized, that you imagined with so much clarity and emotion. That version must not stay confined to your journal or your mind. It has to start showing up in your daily life. You must begin to behave, think, speak, carry yourself like that person now, not next month, not once you deserve it, right now. This is where most people hesitate. They think they have to wait for evidence before they can believe in themselves. They say, once I make more money, I'll feel more successful. Or once I get the recognition, I'll start acting with confidence. But it doesn't work that way. The law of life is simple. It's not have, do, be. It's be, do, have. You must first be the person in mindset and behavior. Then you'll naturally do the things that person does. And eventually you'll have the results that person would attract. You're not faking it. You're aligning with a higher version of yourself. You're stepping into the identity that already exists within you. And yes, at first it might feel uncomfortable. It might even feel unnatural. But that's only because your old self-image is still trying to pull you back. The moment you begin to shift how you act, that old identity will start to resist. It will whisper, "This isn't you. Who are you trying to be?" That's the very sign that you're on the right path. You must override that voice with action. The more you behave in harmony with your new self-image, the more familiar it becomes. And what was once unfamiliar becomes your new normal. Imagine someone who sees themselves as a confident leader. How do they walk into a room? How do they respond under pressure? How do they communicate with others? Now take those behaviors and bring them into your life. Even if it's subtle at first, stand a little taller, speak a little clearer. One bold decision. That's how the shift begins. You don't need the world to validate your new identity. You validate it by how you live. The truth is, no one's going to give you permission to become your higher self. That's your job. And the only way to become it is to start living it. Not just in your imagination, but in your habits, in your routine, in your energy. This is why writing and visualizing your new self-image is so important. It gives you a blueprint for action. You're not acting randomly. You're acting from a clear, intentional design. And each time you align your actions with that design, you strengthen it. Your mind starts to believe it. Your nervous system begins to adapt to it. You start to feel more at home in this new version of you. Acting as if is not pretending. It's practicing. You're rehearsing the identity you're stepping into. Just like a musician doesn't become great by reading about music, they become great by playing. Repeatedly, you become who you want to be by living it, even before you have the full results to prove it. And those results will come, because when you act like a person of value, the world begins to respond to you differently. When you carry yourself with certainty, people notice. When you take bold action in alignment with your vision, opportunities appear. This is how you raise your standards. This is how you send a signal to life that says, I'm ready. I'm not waiting anymore. I've already decided who I am. Eventually, your actions and your identity become one and the same. You don't have to think about it anymore. You are it. But it all starts with that conscious decision to live from your new image now, not later. And the only way to reinforce that image is through action. Every choice you make is a vote for the person you're becoming. Choose the version of you that already exists in potential and bring them to life one decision, one step, one moment at a time. Because when you act like the person you want to become, you start becoming the person you want to be. Persistence turns imagination into identity. That's the final piece of the puzzle, and maybe the most important one of all. You can write your new self-image with precision. You can visualize it with emotion. You can act as if you are already living it. But unless you stay with it, unless you persist through the moments of doubt, discomfort, and delay, it will never take root. Real change doesn't happen because you do something once. It happens because you do it again and again and again until it becomes who you are. Most people give up too soon. They imagine their new self-image for a few days, maybe a week or two. They write affirmations and even take inspired action. But the moment life pushes back or things don't change fast enough, they return to their old identity. Not because they didn't want it badly enough, but because they didn't persist long enough for the new image to settle in. The subconscious mind is a powerful mechanism, but it doesn't respond to temporary impulses. It responds to consistency. It responds to repetition fueled by belief. Think about it. How did your current self-image get installed in the first place? It didn't happen overnight. It was years of repeated thoughts, repeated emotional experiences, repeated beliefs from others that you accepted as your own. That's what shaped who you believe yourself to be today. So why would creating a new self-image take anything less than steady, deliberate effort? If you're serious about transformation, then you must be equally serious about persistence. There will be days when it feels like nothing is happening, days when you repeat your affirmations and visualize your future, but your current reality still looks the same. That's when persistence matters most, because something is happening even if you can't see it yet. Your internal programming is shifting. Your subconscious is being reconditioned. New neural pathways are being formed. Your energy is aligning with the new image, and the momentum is building. You must keep going long enough for the outer world to catch up with the changes you're making on the inside. This is not about forcing results. It's about holding the image, holding it through the ups and downs, holding it when the evidence is missing, holding it when doubt creeps in, because the image you hold consistently will eventually become your identity, and your identity always sets the tone for your results. Persistence is what bridges the gap between imagination and reality. It's what turns a written vision into lived experience. Every time you visualize your new self-image and act from it, even if the results are small, you're casting a vote for the person you are becoming. And with each vote, the old identity weakens and the new one strengthens. What's beautiful is that persistence doesn't have to be loud or dramatic. It can be quiet and steady. Reading your vision out loud each morning, taking one action each day that aligns with the version of you you're becoming, refusing to speak or think in ways that contradict your new image. These small, consistent moves compound over time into a powerful shift in who you are. And yes, the old programming will try to fight back. It will tell you that nothing is changing, that this is too hard, that you're not cut out for it. That's normal. That's part of the process. But those voices grow weaker the longer you persist, because as your new self-image becomes more dominant, the old one begins to lose its power, the resistance fades, the doubt dissolves. What once felt like effort begins to feel natural. And before you know it, you're not trying to become this new version of yourself anymore. You are that version. That's the reward of persistence. You don't just create new results. You create a new identity. One that wasn't handed to you, but one you built on purpose. A self-image that reflects your highest potential. And it all started with a decision to not give up on yourself, no matter how long it took. Keep writing the vision. Keep seeing it clearly. Keep acting from it. But above all, keep going. Because when you persist long enough, the image in your mind becomes the person in the mirror. Everything you desire, more confidence, greater success, deeper fulfillment, already exists within you. It's not something you need to chase in the outside world. It begins with a shift on the inside. You must first understand that your life is shaped by the image you hold of yourself. That image was likely created by others, molded by the past, and reinforced by repetition. But now you know the truth, you can rewrite it. You can choose a new identity, one that aligns with your potential, not your limitations. This isn't about pretending to be someone you're not. It's about revealing who you've always had the power to become. And it starts with clarity, defining your new self-image in detail. Then it continues with repetition, impressing that new image into your subconscious through words, emotions, and action. Through imagination, you begin to feel your way into that new identity. And by acting as if it's already real, you start bringing it to life. But most importantly, it's your persistence that locks it in. Day after day, thought after thought, step after step. You become the person you were always meant to be. You are not a product of your past. You are a creator of your future. The pen is in your hand now. Write your new self-image with purpose, live it with conviction, and never look back.